FBI most wanted fraud suspect held in Jamaica over alleged 32 million US COVID relief scam. Hi again and welcome. This is Links 007 TV. Let's talk and we'll be right back with the full details. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. This is Links 007 TV. Let's talk. Without no delay, let me just get straight into the meat of the matter. And this story is one that I've been tracking for some time now. So this female has been on the FBI most wanted list for some time. And for some strange reason, she was able to elude them for a good length of time and return to Jamaica. Now, she's wanted in the United States for some serious offenses, in which it's alleged she obtained more than 32 million US dollars in COVID relief funds. Now, according to information we've received on Links 007 TV, it's very clear that this female would have carried some of that money back to Jamaica, and many believe that she was living the lifetime of her dreams while she returned back to Jamaica. However, when news broke of this, she went into hiding and the FBI issued a number of appeals for her to turn herself in. However, she believed that she could elude the FBI and live in Jamaica. However, you have to understand that we are living now in a modern time and technology is there all around us and they will track you down, especially when you're in certain social space and also doing certain things when you should be actually being in hiding. So this female now is going to face some really serious charges. So the female is accused of obtaining more than 32 million US in federal COVID-19 funds and has been So the female is accused of fraudulently obtaining more than 32 million US in federal COVID-19 relief funds and has been returned to the Southern District of Florida after being arrested in Jamaica, where she had allegedly fled to avoid prosecution in the United States. $32 million is a lot of cash to have at your disposal, and this was what Miss Esco had in her hands. Now, when you convert this into Jamaican currency, this would work out to be over 5 billion Jamaican dollars. So this is a whole lot of cash that she had at her disposal. So the female has been identified as Elaine Esco and she is age 41 years old. She was indicted in 2025 on charges of including conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering, and multiple counts of wire fraud and money laundering. This follows the issuance of a federal arrest warrant in May 2025, where Esco failed to appear in court and fled to Jamaica. So, acting on intelligence developed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the United States, the Jamaican authorities arrested her after receiving a tip. She was returned to South Florida through the coordinated operation with the FBI, U.S. Marshals Service, and the U.S. Department of State Diplomatic Security Service Regional Security Office at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, Jamaica. The Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Constabulary Force Fugitive Apprehension Team also played their part in apprehending her without harm. Elaine Esco, age 41, who the FBI described as the most wanted fraudster, allegedly obtained tens of millions in COVID relief and stealing critical resources from legitimate business during the national crisis. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said that she fled the country believing that she could escape justice, but ultimately could not. Those who exploit the taxpayer-funded programs will be held accountable by the Department of Justice, no matter how long it takes, where they are or where they are hiding. Assistant Attorney General Colin M. McDonnell of the National Fraud Enforcement Division said that Elaine Esco arrest and return to the United States demonstrate that no one is beyond the reach of the American justice system. I did some research about the United States and the current extradition treaty between Jamaica and the United States. Now, this was signed on June 14, 1983 in Kingston, Jamaica, and it entered into force on May 7, 1991, with both countries completing their ratification procedures. So what happened in this case? If you commit a crime in Jamaica, for example, and then you went to live in the United States for some time. Based on that treaty that was signed between Jamaica and the United States, you can be extradited back to Jamaica in order to be charged. Similar if you commit a crime in the United States and you fled to your land of birth, which is Jamaica, you can be extradited back to the United States in order to face your charges, similar what happened to this female right now in this case. So the Department of Justice alleged that Esco and her co-defendants submitted or caused the submission of fraudulent application seeking more than 32 million US dollars from the Paycheck Protection Program. So Miss Esco and her co-defendant did not stop there. They defrauded the Restaurant Restoration Fund, the Shutters Avenue Operation Grant, and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Programs. So these funds were set up in order to help people with the COVID-19 pandemic, and many people would have been out of jobs during this time and many business places would have been shut down. In order for Miss Esco to have received so much money, the documents were supported by fabricated tax documents, bank records, and other financial records. Esco was the last remaining defendant charged in the scheme. Alfred Davis, Cher Davis, and Latoya Clark were convicted by the federal jury in December 2025, while James McGow and Gina Gordon previously pleaded guilty. The resulting prison sentence ranged from 42 months to 235 months. Those outcomes may affect the plea discussion and the sentence in comparison, although the charges against Esco remain allegations and she is presumed innocent unless proved guilty. So the scheme that this group created resulted in the wrongful disbursement of approximately US $32 million in federal relief funds, according to court document filed in the United States. After the disbursement, it stated that Esco and the others allegedly directed payments to each other and to businesses they control, withdrew large sums in cash, and used blank signed checks to control the origin and nature of the proceeds. This scheme that was created in order to defraud the United States government, it was well thought out, and all the loopholes were actually covered. If you actually look on how they try to cover the trace of the money and try to stop anyone finding out from where the funds were actually coming from. However, with the FBI and all the other agencies that came on board in order to investigate this matter, and even though they tried desperately to cover their tracks, somewhere along the line they left some loopholes, and the FBI and other agencies that investigated the matter, they were able to actually find out what really happened and how they were able to scam the government of millions of dollars. So Miss Esco photo was all over the internet and have been circulating online for some time now. So according to the FBI, acting on tips and intelligence along with the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF and the Fugitive Apprehension Team, she was arrested in a coordinated international operation. Now a reward was being offered of US $150,000 for any information that could aid in her capture. If you listen carefully based on what I said that the authorities received a tip. Now 150,000 US dollars equivalent to Jamaican currency, that would be 22 million or approximately 22,500,000 Jamaican dollars. Now that is a lucrative sum of cash. That's why someone would want to pass information on to the local authorities, and I believe that that's what really happened. Someone saw her and tipped off the local authorities, and that's why she was placed under arrest. Maybe it could be a family member, you never know, because you can't trust people when it comes on to things like these, especially when money is involved. The closest person to you will sell you out, and this could be a family member, could be a friend, could just be someone that you're acquainted with. And when you see situations such as these playing out, you know that someone would have known where she was and provide the local authorities, who then in turn arrest her, and the extradition procedures were then granted for her to return to the United States in order to be charged. Now, as it relates to this case, this is a very serious charge against this individual and the others that are a part of this scheme that defrauded the United States government of so much money, I can tell you. over 32 million US dollars, which equivalent to around 5 billion Jamaican dollars. That's a whole lot of cash, a whole lot of capital that could have done so much things. And the court document did not really state whether or not she was the mastermind behind the whole entire operation. Well, I'll continue to track this story and provide more details to come on this, but this is a story that I've been following for some time, and I will continue to update you guys once more information becomes available to us. This is Links 007 TV. Let's talk. Thanks for watching.